Today, in the concepts of social programs by the NAR committee, srkmurthy is going to say about the habits. How is the habits? What are the ways of habits? How many categories of habits? How they represent our human life. That to be said. Generally, habits are two types of habits. One is mental habits. Another one is physical habits. If you want to say about the mental habits, we know about the mentality, how the mentality is going to express by everyone. Everyone is expressing their thoughts and feelings, their way of talking, thinking behavior. Such kind of thinking behavior and everything should be made repeated times. If you think repeatedly, if you talk repeatedly, if you express repeatedly, some many more times, that to be habited to each and every person. That is whether reading or writing or thinking or whatever there is, expressing, speaking, whatever there is. If you express many more times, that should be habited to you. If you think many more times, that should be habited to you. Like that way, the habits, mental habits are going to be expressed each and every person. That may be language, that may be some other words, that may be some other logical events, whatever there is. Suppose if you want to take a person, a mentally disordered person. In the states, we are observing like this way. The person expresses his words repeatedly, the same words he expresses, the same activities he can do. He appears like the same only. There is no any kind of change in their expression, in his words and in his activities. Whatever he can, such kind of activities, words and language, whatever he do, he can do in the streets, in his personal life. The repeated things, the repeated words, the repeated expressions, the repeated actions we observe. He won't come out from that repeatedness. That's why we treat him as a mentally disordered person. Like that. All are delinquent. Actually, such kind of a person has no mentally disorder. The repetition of his activities, repetition of his words, repetition of his remembrance, repetition of all kinds of activities, what he can. Such kind of activities he do in the same way only. There is no any kind of change in his words and actions and whatever the expressions there is. So that he is called as a mentally disordered person. That we can't see only in a mentally disordered person. In all the persons, whoever there is, they can do this repeated actions, repeated words, repeated language. We see such kind of habits to keep. Every person has the same things. Every person tries to think his past expressions, past events, past works only. Why? Because that is the past expressions are easy to do, easy to express, easy to easy to make whatever the work there is, whatever the words there is, whatever the expressions there is. Why? Because the person is habited. Here we won't see about a mentally disordered person only. In each and every person, we observe and think him. We also suppose we are expressing Telugu. We are talking Telugu. Our mother tongue is Telugu. We express our language freely. Whatever the words and whatever the songs, whatever the expressions there is. Why? Because those are made easy to us. Why? Because that is habited to us. If you want to think about Hindi or English or some other language, there is more difficulty to express the words and the sentences and the language, the expressions. Very difficult. Why? Because we are not habited to the Hindi or English and some other language. Even if you want to say about scolding, also some words we express, some hard words we express. Somebody expresses the words easily. Somebody can't express the words easily. Why? Because they are habited like that way. Like the same way, if you want to say about the situations, if you want to say about the other things is habited, that means you are in this state. If you change this state or country, you go to other place. The other place activities, other place language, and other places, other countries language and habits should be followed. Otherwise, till to follow this habits and this language, there is no scope to livelihood also. After some days, you are habituated to that language and habituated to that activities, habituated to that food and everything. At the time, your original place, language and your original place activities should be forgotten. Like that way, we see everywhere and anywhere also. Our body is also like the same way. If you want to think about the physical positions, if you go to other places, there the weather, the atmosphere, the food and everything should be habituated to you. At the time, your body is adjusted to that other place. Then only we see our body is being perfected. If you do not change your activities, your food and your way of expression and everything, way of life, everything, there may be followed some problems to you about the language and food and the body and everything. So that according to the weather condition, our body also should be habituated. Like that way, we have to express our words and expressions, body, feelings, dresses, and everything else. The next one, if you want to think about the physical habits, the physical habits, how is the physical habits we know? The physical habits are not only the drinking and eating. The physical habits are everything. What we said about the body example before. Such kind of thing also a physical habit adjustments. Here, whatever the work there is, whatever the position you have, whatever the role of living you have, everything should be habituated to that circumstances. Otherwise, it would not be a problematic situation. So, that is not only to the drinking and eating and doing activities. Everything there is. That is, that may be culture or tradition, religion, caste, whatever the situations there is. If you think in that way only, there may be some problematic to you, everything. That is our habit that comes automatically to us. Why? Because we are habited. That is religion or caste or whatever the tradition or whatever the custom, whatever the situations there is. Everything should be a habit. Not only one thing, not only one or two things as a habit. Every person is habited, every activity is habited, every thinking is habited, every role of expression is habited in this country. Who are habited like that, they may face some problems today. Such kind of problems would be in the great events, in the highest event, in the lowest events also. That can create, the habits can create a highest mentality. The habits can create a lowest mentality also. We are observing the religious and culture, whatever the events there is. If you are habited to that, that is habited to you the lifelong. There is a source to express universal mentality. Whatever the events there is, whatever the situations there is, that can be used, and you also should be used to others. Not only the persons, the things, and the others also. Like that way, the habits are more dangerous and more selfish and more attractive and more everything. The habits creates. So each and everybody has to use you yourself and to be used by others, things and persons. That is the universal mentality that should be maintained in this world only, not to be utilized as a habitually. That should be told as a non-representative, as a naturality, universality, reality. A representative, srkmurthy, to each and every person in this world. Thank you.